Hi, my name is Jordan Moore, and I manage our high-speed service center. And this will be your first visit back to the dealership since the purchase of your vehicle. Today we're going to demonstrate exactly what you can expect when coming to get your vehicle serviced with us. So here with me I have one of our experienced technicians, Jeffrey, and he's going to work along the top side of the vehicle to show you what we actually inspect when working on the car.
Jeffrey will start his process by checking your oil level on arrival, being sure it is at proper measurements. This will let him know if it has any signs of oil leaks or oil consumption. He will proceed to check all of your fluid levels, starting with your power steering fluid to make sure it's at proper level. He will also inspect the engine coolant level to be sure that it's at proper measurements. And then he will also inspect your windshield washer fluid level to be sure it is at proper measurements. It's also part of our comprehensive service to be sure that all your levels are at the full mark before leaving. We'll then move to check out the engine air filter to be sure it's not dirty or clogged. The reason being is if the engine air filter is dirty or clogged, it can actually decrease your gas mileage. And also it keeps other trash or debris from entering into the motor. Once he's finished checking the engine air filter, he will then proceed to test out your battery. This is to be sure that it's performing at its optimal level and to also be sure that it's at the correct cold cranking amperage. This is very important because the cold cranking amperage is what determines if your car can start from a cold start in early mornings. And it's very important to also test your battery throughout the year, from wintertime also through summertime. You will then inspect around the engine bay, checking all your belts and hoses and also the area around the engine to be sure there's no signs of wear. And then he will test out your windshield wiper blades to be sure you have a clear sight of view. He will also check your tail lights to be sure you don't have any blown bulbs.
We also have our experienced technician Fred here with us, and he will be performing along the bottom side of the vehicle.
So Fred will start by draining out the old oil and also opening up the oil canister filter housing to change out the engine oil filter. Now, sometimes when changing out the oil, it can be quite a mess. The guys do a great job and make sure they clean up any oil residue they see around the housing and also around underneath by the oil pan. It's also important that when you're changing out the oil filter that you also switch out the O-ring that goes around it. And when the guys reattach the parts back to the car, they make sure they use the correct tools, such as the torque wrench you see Fred using. This is what gets it back to factory specs. Fred will also complete the undercarriage inspection of the vehicle. We'll be checking around the transmission and engine area and also your exhaust and suspension. The guys will complete the oil change and then they will move on to the second part of your service, which would be your tire rotation. The guys will safely remove the lug nuts to remove the wheel. They'll measure your tire tread depth to be sure your tires are wearing evenly. And then they will also inspect your brakes, your brake lines, the covers, and the brake pads. Once the guys do the tire rotation, they make sure they use the correct tools when putting the tires back on, such as the torque wrench that you see Jeff using. The guys will complete the tire rotation by checking and adjusting your tire pressure to be sure it's at the proper measurements.
This is just a brief demonstration to show you what it'll be like when getting your car serviced here with us. The guys will conclude the service by making sure they reset your maintenance light and also making sure you have a decal on your windshield stating for your next service interval. We look forward to you visiting us soon here at Milton Martin Toyota.